Greetings, English students. Professor Kyra Williams here with a quick video overview of the narrative essay outline. Please check the weekly pacing guide and Blackboard to know when this narrative outline is due. So this particular narrative outline overview is going to be over the Spirit Crushers, Spirit Builders essay. We outline the essay before we start drafting the essay. So we are now in the outlining part of the writing process. For this particular essay, you could choose to either write about one lesson that you learned as you reflected over Spirit Crushers and Spirit Builders, or you could choose to reflect over 3 lessons that you learned as you thought about the Spirit Crushers and Spirit Builders in your life. I will give an overview of both outlines. However, the introduction for both outlines is the same. So let's start with the one lesson. If you are going to be centering on one overarching lesson that you learned about yourself as you looked at the Spirit Crushers and Spirit Builders in your life, then you will follow this outline template. Introduction. You're going to begin your introduction with a hook. A hook is a attention getter. It is something that will grab the audience's attention. Next, you're going to give a summary of the article. The article that you will be summarizing is Robin Abkarian's Don't Let the Spirit Crushers Get You Down. You will summarize that article in a few sentences and quote from that particular article. Next, you will connect the article and or give a little bit more background information. Think of this as bridge sentences. You're bridging from the summary to your overall point, which is your thesis statement. The thesis statement for this particular essay is the one lesson that you learned as you thought about Spirit Crushers and Spirit Builders in your life. The lesson should center around you. What did you learn about yourself? The thesis statement should have also been practiced and submitted before you put it on the outline. Body paragraphs. So the body paragraphs will repeat. They follow a pattern when it is the one lesson. So I will briefly explain the first body paragraph and then the rest repeat the pattern. So in your first body paragraph, you will explain the lesson that you learned. You have one huge lesson, so you will tell the audience what the lesson is. Next, you're going to describe the experience that taught you, or one experience that taught you that particular lesson. So you would go through and take the audience through your experience. Next, you're going to reflect on the experience. So after you have told the audience the lesson and then you've told them the experience or illustrated the experience for them, now you're going to reflect on the experience, meaning you're going to connect how that experience actually taught you that lesson. What about that experience helped you learn a particular lesson? Body paragraph number 2. You're centering on the same lesson because this is the outline for one lesson. So you're centering on the same lesson. You will reintroduce the lesson maybe in a different way. Next, you're going to describe a different experience for that particular lesson. So give me an experience, another experience you had in your life that helped you learn that particular lesson. Next, you will reflect on that experience. So you're going to tell the audience, after you've illustrated the experience, you're going to again tell the audience why or how that experience taught you the lesson. Now, there's an optional paragraph in this one. So for this particular outline and for this one lesson outline, you only need to have an introduction and 2 body paragraphs. That's all that is required. However, if you would like to have a third experience for the same lesson, you are open to do so. Remember that you do have a 1,000-word count to hit regardless of how many paragraphs you have. So you repeat the same process as you did for the other two paragraphs if you would like to do the optional paragraph. Last but not least, you would have a conclusion. Conclusions pretty much do the same thing every time you write them. So a conclusion is going to restate the thesis. It's going to give the importance of the lessons probably for the future. And then you're going to close with a closing thought or a final contemplation. Now we will move to the 3-lesson format. As mentioned earlier, for the introduction is the same whether you focus on 1 lesson or 3 lessons. So I'm going to skip to the body paragraphs. If you are presenting 3 lessons that you learned about yourself, then your first body paragraph is going to give the first lesson. You will then describe an experience from that lesson, something that illustrated that lesson for you. And then you're going to reflect on the experience, again, telling how or why you were taught that particular lesson, how that experience helped you understand or comprehend this lesson. Body paragraphs 2 and 3. So for your next 2 body paragraphs, body paragraph 2 and 3, it's a pattern. You just repeat. The only difference is you're doing it with a different lesson because you have 3 instead of 1. So you would be doing it with lesson number 2. So explain the lesson, describe the experience, reflect on the experience. Body paragraph number 3, repeat the same pattern. It's important to note that if you are doing the 3-lesson outline template, that you will have the traditional 5-paragraph essay. So if you are doing the 3-lesson template, you must have 5 traditional paragraphs because you have 3 lessons to illustrate. The conclusion is the same as the conclusion on the previous template. So in your conclusion, you would restate your thesis. You would talk about the importance of the lessons for future, such as your college or career or life in general. And then you would come with a closing thought. If you have any questions or comments on this, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.